Hmm? Whenever you're ready. Okay. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Thumma amma ba'd. To proceed today, inshallah, we will go over two chapters. The chapter on mahzurat al-Ihram, the forbidden acts during Ihram, and the chapter on al-Fidya, or expiation. Expiation for not only mahzurat al-Ihram, or to basically fall into one of these errors or forbidden acts of Ihram, but also its expiation in general. Whenever you need to expiate, whether it is for doing Umrah, doing Tamattu or Qiran, or killing game animals, or abandonment of wajib min wajibat al-Hajj, one of the obligations of Hajj, or committing an error of Ihram, or one of the mahzurat al-Ihram, or forbidden acts during Ihram. Those are all reasons for expiation. The first chapter will be on the forbidden acts during Ihram. We have gone over some of them to some extent last time when we talked about Ihram itself, and we talked about that which we can wear and that which we cannot wear, and perfumes and so on. But we will repeat that stuff quickly and then move on to the other mahzurat or forbidden acts during the Ihram. Imam ibn Qudamah rahimahullah said here in al-Umdat, Babu mahzurat al-Ihram, chapter on forbidden acts during Ihram, وهي تسعة, and they are 9. There are 9 things that you cannot do while in a state of Ihram. Keep in mind that these things are agreed upon in the 4 madhahib. Only clipping the nails, Ibn Hazm disagrees with clipping the nails. Ibn Hazm is not from the 4 madhahib, but in general, these things are agreed upon even outside of the 4 madhahib. But only clipping the nails was not something that Ibn Hazm would go for sure. Because there is no nas about clipping the nails, whether in the Quran or the Sunnah. It is established through qiyas or through analogy. And the analogy here, and from the statement of Abdullah ibn Abbas as well, when he made tafsir of ثُمَّ لْيَقْضُوا تَفَثَهُمْ, then they should end their unkemptness. And he interpreted the unkemptness to be the long hair and long nails. So from the tafsir of Ibn Abbas and from qiyas analogy to the shaving of the hair, the 4 imams and the majority of Muslim scholars also forbade clipping the nails. Certainly Ibn Hazm did not, because he does not, because Ahl al-Zahir in general, literalists in general, do not accept qiyas as a way of, proper way of interpretation or proper way of deduction of rulings. Anyway, going back to Imam ibn Qudamah here, I just wanted to say that, these are issues of agreement in general. All of them are by agreement of the 4 madhahib, and the very vast majority of them are by agreement of all Muslim scholars. There are only few issues that are controversial. He said وهي 9 حلق الشعر وقلم الظفر في 3 منها دم. He said حلق الشعر وقلم الظفر ففي 3 منها دم وفي كل واحد مما دونها مد طعام وهو ربع الصاع وإن خرج في عينه شعر فقلعه أو نزل شعره فغطى عينيه أو انكسر ظفره فقصه فلا شيء فيه. He said there are 9 things. The first 2 would be shaving the hair and clipping the nails. If he does this, if he does shave his hair up to 3 hairs or nails, or clipped 3 nails, then he must sacrifice an animal, up to, not including, meaning short of 3. Once you hit the 3, that is considered shaving the whole head. For the Hanafis, it is 1/4 of the head. For the Jumhur, it is 3 or more hairs. will be like shaving the entire head. Then he must sacrifice an animal. If to less than 3, then for each one a mudd of food, the fill of 2 hands of food. The fill of 2 hands of food is called mudd. The fill of 1 hand is called nasif. Nasif means half a mudd. It means half a mudd. Fill of 2 hands is mudd. Mudd is about, let's say, 510 grams. It is not measured by weight, it is measured by volume. Mudd is a volume, not a weight. But for practical purposes, we use weights. But you have to understand, as a student of knowledge, you have to understand where it came from, and you have to understand that it is technically improper to use weights. But we're using weights for practicalities, because if you tell the people 1 liter, half a liter, this or that, it is hard for them to, and if you tell them feed like half a liter, what's that? But and certainly for you here in America, grams would also be pretty impractical. You go by pounds and ounces here. But a conversion is easy. 510 grams would convert into, would be about 2.2 pounds is 1 kilogram. 1 kilogram is 1,000 grams. America really needs to move to the metric system. It just makes life much easier. Anyway, so what is 510? It's like a little bit more than 1 pound, right? So 1.25 pounds, about. So, but at any rate, this is mudd, the fill of 2 hands. Nasif would be the fill of 1 hand. But for legal purposes, nasif is not important. Mudd is important, sa' is important. Sa' is basically 4 times the mudd. So 4 mudds is 1 sa'. So 1 sa' in this would be what? 510 grams multiplied by 4 is about 2,040 grams. That is 2 kilograms and 40 grams. 2 kilograms and 40 grams would translate into how many pounds? Multiply 2 and a little and change by 2.2. It will come to about 4.5 pounds. 1 sa' would be about 4.5 pounds, right? Yes. So Imam ibn Qudamah here says, if you, he says here, let me finish this and then we will go back. So if he shaves less than 3 hairs, then for each hair he will give away, he will donate 1 mudd, the fill of 2 hands of food. And then he said, which is 1/4 of a sa', 1/4 of a sa'. If hair got in his eyes and he removed it, or his hair grew down and covered his eyes, or his nail broke and he clipped it, then nothing is required of him. Because the hair here, the hair and the nail here would be treated like a sa'id, would be treated like an aggressor. So hair should not really cover your eye, it should not get into your eye. So if the hair of the eyebrow or the eyelid, the eyebrow or the hair of the eyelids came into your eyes and then you removed that, nothing is required of you. Someone may say, but the hadith of Ka'b ibn Ujra that was reported by Muslim, he had, head lice. And he had plenty of head lice, and that caused them hardship. And when the Prophet ﷺ told them to shave his head, لَعَلَّكَ تُؤْذِيكَ هَوَامُ رَأْسِكَ, maybe you are being bothered by, the lice in your head. And he said yes, and he said فَحْلِقْهُ, then shave it, وَذْبَحْ شَاةً, and then slaughter a goat or sheep, or أطعم, or some ثلاثة أيام, or fast 3 days, or أطعم ثلاثة أصع بين ستة مساكين, or give away 3 saws, which would be 12 muds, 3 saws, which would be 12 muds, which would be 3 saws would be 4.5 times 3 is 13 and a half pounds of food, and divided between 6 poor people, or fast 3 days. So he gave him these 3 options. We'll come back to them when we talk about expiation. But Ka'b ibn Ujra was not doing this just, for fun. He was not doing this for luxury. He was being bothered by the head lice. But the hair here was not the aggressor. The lice were the aggressors, not the hair. That's why when he shaved his head, he had to expiate. But if the hair itself is the aggressor, the hair grew into your eye or covered your eye or something, and you removed it, there is nothing required of you. So is this clear? So you pull out one hair, you will have to feed one poor person 1 mud of food, which is about 510 grams, a little bit more than a pound of food. If you pull out 2 hairs, you feed 2 people twice as much. Each one of them will have 1 mud. Okay? If you pull out 3 hairs, what do? You sacrifice, you slaughter a sheep or goat. When we come to the section of expiation, we will say that you will also be given the choice of fasting 3 days or feeding 6 people 3 saws or 13.5 pounds of food. Okay, the same rules will apply to clipping the nails. Clipping the nail. If you clip 1 nail, that is 1 mud of food you feed. If you clip 2 nails, that is 2 muds. You give 1 mud to each poor person. If you clip 3 nails, that is what? 1 goat or sheep, the sacrifice. If you cannot, this is al-takhir, you have the options. Then you can, or feed 6 people 3 saws of food, 13.5 pounds of food, or fast 3 days. If the nail breaks and it bothers you and you have to clip it, nothing is required of you. Nothing is required of you. If the hair grows into your eye or bothers you somehow, and you remove it or shave it or pull it out, nothing is required of you. If your hair falls naturally, nothing is required of you. Should you be combing your hair? Controversial. If you know that combing your hair will make your hair fall, do not comb your hair. And it's not such a big deal, sisters. You cover your hair anyway. But for you guys, for them as well, because at home you. But this is part of the unkemptness of Hajj. This is part of the tafath of Hajj. This is part of the hardship, unkemptness of Hajj. So if you know that if you comb your hair, it falls off, just don't comb your hair. Don't comb your hair. Because if you comb your hair and it falls off, then you'll have to figure out if these were dead hairs or alive. And if they were dead hairs, you don't have to worry about it. If they were alive and they fell off because of your combing, then you'll have to apply the same principles. And for some people, when they comb their hair, particularly for the sisters, when lots of hair would come off, and in this case, you will have to sacrifice if the combing causes this. That is according to the majority of the scholars. That's according to the madhab and according to the majority of the scholars. Therefore, it is only a couple of days. While you are in Ihram, just don't comb your hair. Wash it, clean it, it is fine. If you have to scratch your head, that is fine. That's absolutely fine. Wash, clean, scratch, all of this is fine. Just don't comb your hair if you know that your hair falls off with combing. People like you with short hair, likely combing will not cause any trouble. Yes? But are we taking questions in the middle, or we're taking questions at the end? Well, let's take this as the last one, and then we'll defer the questions.
What
yes.
About you habitually, like, some people they fix their eyebrows, for example, and then, like one eyebrow is loose or something, one of the hairs, and it comes out. Or like with the beard, like, you have some people just like, regularly, sometimes like they'll just kind of like do like this with their beard. Like one hair comes out or something like that.
Okay.
Is that considered?
It depends. We will come to this. We will talk about an-nasi wal-jahil. We'll talk about someone who does this out of error, under compulsion or coercion, or absent-mindedly. And that there is some discussion here about the one who does this. And we'll talk about it in the next session, because there are some details here. But in general, if dead hair only falls off, nothing is required. But if this causes good hair to fall off, then there is some discussion here. So try to just like stay away from your beard. They even said there is even controversy about takhleel al-lihya in wudu, whether you should make takhleel of your lihya, run your fingers through your lihya in wudu while you are in a state of ihram. And they said if you know that doing this will make some hair fall off, just don't do takhleel. Just avoid this sunnah, which is usually, which is by default sunnah in wudu. It is sunnah in wudu to do takhleel, right? To run your wet fingers through your beard in wudu, that is sunnah in wudu. When you are in ihram, just avoid that if you know that this may make your hair fall off. Okay, so now we covered two different mahzurs of mahzurat al-ihram. One is shaving or trimming, shortening. And then hair. And the other one is clipping. Nails. So 1, 2. Okay, number 3. Imam ibn Qudamah rahimahullah said here about number 3, لبس المخيط إلا ألا يجد إزارا فيلبس سراويل أو لا يجد نعلين فيلبس خفين ولا فدية عليه. Wearing makhit, fitted sewn clothes, unless he does not find the lower garment and hence wears trousers, the lower garment and hence wears trousers, or if he does not find sandals, so he wears leather socks. In these cases, there is no expiation due on him. And I'm talking to the boys only, because that is not pertinent to women. We will come back to women, because women can wear whatever they want. There are only a few exceptions. She does not wear the particular article of clothes that covers the face, which is niqab, and she does not wear gloves. Otherwise, she may wear whatever she wants. And she does not wear like a garment that was also dyed by turmeric or saffron. But she in terms of the type of clothing or the colors, she can wear whatever she wants. But only for men, they can't wear makhid. They can't wear sewn, fitted articles of clothes. That is anything that is fitted for your body, that has sleeves and fitted for your body. You can't wear it in the way that it is. Like you can't wear this like I'm wearing, my jubba here. However, if I take this jubba off like this and put it like this, is this okay? Yes, this is okay. I can wear it like this because I am not wearing it for the purpose it was sewn for. So this is not fitted for my body anymore. It's just like any piece of cloth that I throw on my shoulders. Now, if I take a aba'a No one here is wearing like one of those aba'at. And I put the aba'a like this. You know the aba'a that they usually, if I put it like this, even this would actually qualify as aba'a. If I put it like this, is this okay? No, this is not okay. Because people usually do this. With aba'as, they do this. Oftentimes, they don't stick their hands out of the sleeves. They sometimes just do this, right? If you lived for some time in a Muslim land, they do this, particularly in the countryside. They always do this. And then you'll find them walking like this and stuff. But, so that is what they mean by sewn, fitted, so form-fitting, like it is sewn for you. It is fitted to your body, like the trousers, like the shirt, like the jubba, fitted to your body. That does not mean it has stitches, because like I told you, you could wear this by throwing it on your shoulders. So it is not about the stitches. It is not about the rida being, having a seam, stitched seams or anything. No, none of this. If you wear a shirt that doesn't have stitches, you wear one of those like t-shirts, now they don't have any stitches. That is not halal. And if you wear something like this that has stitches, but you don't wear it like it is usually worn, but you throw it on your shoulders, that is fine. That is fine. So form-fitting clothing are not halal, because the Prophet ﷺ said, "La yalbas al-muhrim," when he was asked about what the muhrim should wear. He said, "La yalbas al-muhrim al-qamis wal-imama wal-burnus wal-sarawil." He does not wear the shirt, the long shirt, the imama, the hooded garment, or the hooded shirt, or the trousers. وَلَا ثَوْبًا مَسَّهُ وَرْسٌ أَوْ زَعْفَرَانٌ, or a garment that has been dyed by turmeric or saffron. وَلَا الْخُفَّيْن, and he does not wear the leather socks. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, and this is what Imam Qudamah talked about here, إِلَّا أَلَّا يَجِدَ النَّعْلَيْنِ فَلْيَلْبَسِ الْخُفَّيْنِ وَلْيَقْطَعْهُمَا أَسْفَلَ مِنَ الْكَعْبَيْنِ. Except if he does not find sandals, then he can wear the leather socks, or he can wear shoes, or he can wear boots, whatever he finds, and then let him cut them below the ankles. This was reported by Abdullah ibn Umar. Abdullah ibn Umar heard this in Medina. When the Prophet went to Arafat, Abdullah ibn Abbas quoted for him, وَلِيَلْبَسْ الْخُفَّيْنِ, let him wear the khufs, the leather socks, but he did not report from him, وَلِيَقْطَعْهُمَا أَسْفَلَ مِنَ الْكَعْبَيْنِ. He did not report from the Prophet that he said, let him cut the khuf or the boots below the ankles. And this is where the disagreement took place. According to the Hanbalis, according to the mazhab, you don't cut the khuf because it is ifsad. It is basically ruining the khuf. So you don't cut the khuf for the boots. If you don't find sandals, you wear whatever you find. You don't need to cut them anywhere, because the Hanbalis said, and this is a very heated controversy here, because the Prophet clearly said, let him cut the khuffayn, and if someone did not mention it and someone mentioned it, and we are sure that the person of the authenticity of the reporter that mentioned it, then we say, الذاكر حجة على الناس, or زيادة الثقة مقبولة. We will say the one who remembers is hujjah, is an authority over the one who does not remember, or we say زيادة الثقة مقبولة, which basically an addition from a trustworthy narrator should be accepted. So the Hanbalis have to really produce a strong argument to defend their position, and their argument is that the Prophet ﷺ, they try to come up with arguments, good arguments. So they tell you that this was in Medina before Hajj, but when the Prophet went to Hajj and he was in the presence of the largest audience he ever had, he did not tell that large audience, and that would not be an omission, would not be an unintended omission, it would be an intended omission. So this happened after the report that does not mention the cutting happened after the report that mentioned the cutting. The report that does not mention the cutting happened during the time of Hajj, which is the time of need for elaboration, and it happened in the presence of the largest audience that the Prophet ﷺ ever had. Therefore, they give precedence to that report, the report of Abdullah ibn Abbas over the report of Abdullah ibn Umar, the report that does not mention the cutting over the report that mentions the cutting. And that is also a good opportunity for us as students of knowledge to remember that when the scholars diverge from your position, or you diverge from their position, or you choose a position that is not, you choose one of two controversial positions, you need to humble yourself and just remember that they probably had a reason why they chose a different position. They were not particularly intending any sort of disrespect to the text of the revelation. They were not particularly trying to be defiant or negligent of the Sunnah. So Lubs al-Makhit, this is number 3. Are we done with Lubs al-Makhit, wearing, because this is like a bigger one. Okay, we did talk last time, so should we repeat this? You could wear the pouch, the waist pouch that have your money and your belongings. You could wear a waist pouch according to the madhab, even if you tie it on top of your izar, that is fine. Because Aisha said, أوثق عليك نقودك, tie your money on you. So you could wear that waist pouch. But aside from this need to protect your belongings and your money, you should not be tying anything. You should not be tying anything. Even in the madhab, you should not be using safety pins or any of that stuff. You should tuck, if you wear your izar, you tuck it in. You wear your izar, you tuck it in. You don't tie it. Even if you wear your imama, if you have like a imama and you wear it on top of your izar to keep your izar in place, you don't do this. You don't tie it. But you tuck it in like this. And just keep on. You could tuck it in several times to make sure that it doesn't fall off. Now, if it still falls off, it's just like the type of material, your body, the shape or something, that this still falls off, and you fear that your aura will be shown. In this case, they allow you to tie it. Do anything, but please don't, yeah. Okay. Particularly if you are at al-Haram and stuff. Yeah. Okay. Al-Raba. Okay. The number 4. So number 3, it is wearing the form-fitting clothing. Form-fitting. Al-Raba. Number 4. تغطية الرأس والأذنان منه. Covering the head and the ears are part of it. Covering the head and the ears are part of it. Certainly you will not wear this for sure. But, and I'm still talking to this, so certainly this side also only. Now in the Hanbali madhab, now that's a controversial issue. But in the Hanbali madhab, particularly nowadays, not anymore. But you will find the Shia usually not. They have their buses, open buses. Honestly speaking, in the Hanbali madhab, that's also the case. Because you should not have any cover on you that moves with you. You should have a cover, like you can't really be in a mahmal that has a roof. You can't be in a howdaj or mahmal or like a carriage that has a roof in the Hanbali madhab because it moves with you. You could only seek shade in like a tent or a house or the shade of a tree or the shade of something that does not move with you. But you can't have something that moves with you. For certain, in the Hanbalis would be completely outraged by those new umbrellas. The umbrellas they wear in Hajj, they actually fix them to their heads. That would be outrageous for the Hanbalis. But even the umbrella, just the umbrella that you hold in your hand, according to the madhab, that is not permissible. However, it was reported that Usama and Bilal were walking with the Prophet ﷺ, one of them, and that is reported authentically, one of them was holding the leash of his camel and the other one was having a thobe, like a garment, holding it on top of the Prophet ﷺ to give him shade. Certainly, they did this out of love. It's not like so that you could always say that is a strong proof that as long as it is not touching your head, it should be fine. So holding an umbrella in your hand would be fine as long as it is not touching your head. And certainly, being on a bus or in a car or something that has a roof would certainly be fine in this case. But not in the original position of the Hanbali madhab, just for your knowledge. Then, number five. الطيب في بدنه الخامس الطيب في بدنه وثيابه. Applying perfume to his body or clothes. Applying perfume to his body or clothes. I said number 4 was what? Covering the head. Number 5, applying perfume to your body or to your garment. And that is by agreement after you start your Hajj. That is by agreement after you start your Ihram, By agreement. There is no, by agreement. You don't apply perfume to your body. You don't apply perfume to your clothes. Now, before you start your Ihram, it is sunnah to apply perfume to your body. To your body. Should you apply perfume to your clothes? The Shafi'is and Hanbalis would allow this. The Malikis and Hanafis would not allow this. Stay out of trouble. Do not apply perfume to your clothes before your Ihram. Just apply perfume to your body, not your clothes. Is that easy? Yeah, because it's a controversial issue. And we did go over that controversy last time. We will not repeat it. Now, aside from applying perfume to your body or your clothes, intentionally touching or, even in the Hanbali madhab, intentionally smelling perfume would be forbidden and would warrant sacrifice and offering. So don't come near any perfume. Now, if you're walking by the Kaaba and you smell perfume, this is unintentional. You can't close your nose, right? Any unintentional stuff is fine. But if you intend to, smell the fragrance of any perfume or something, or expose yourself to it or touch it, then an offering would be required of you. What about the perfumes that exist in different body preparations, soaps and stuff like this? In the Hanbali madhab, that also is not permissible. That also because they say if there is duhn that is perfumed, you do not touch that duhn. If there is oil that is perfumed, you do not touch that oil. If there is oil that is not perfumed and you want to put oil on your body, like you want to put like moisturizers or anything that is not perfumed, or your head or anything, that is fine. That is fine. Even though it has a little bit of taraffu, sort of luxury, but it is fine. It's permissible as long as it is not perfumed. So if you want to stay out of trouble, also avoid any perfumed body preparations. If you're stuck, you don't if this is the only soap that is around, and you're not really intending to smell good, or then it is fine. But if you want to be very strict, it's up to you also. You could just avoid perfumes and everything, even body lotions, body preparations. Then الشيخ said السادس قتل الصيد البر وهو ما كان وحشيا مباحا فأما الأهلي فلا يحرم وصيد البحر مباح. Number 6 of the things forbidden for you while you are in a state of ihram, killing game animals, which are the wild animals that are permissible to hunt. As for domestic animals, it is not forbidden. Regarding game from the sea, it is permissible. There is so much to talk about, so much to say about this, so much talk about, game animals and what is permissible and what is not permissible, and the eggs of game animals, and what you can do and what you cannot do. You have the hadith in your book about Abu Qatada, when Abu Qatada hunted a zebra, and the Prophet ﷺ allowed the muhrimeen to eat from it, since Abu Qatada did not hunt it upon their gesture or with their help. Also, they add to this that he did not hunt it for them particularly. So if someone hunted a game animal, not upon your gesture, not with your help, and not for you in particular, you could eat from that game animal. You could eat from it. If you did not help, even by gesture, even by pointing, and if it was not hunted for you. And that is clear in the hadith of Abu Qatada. Certainly, game animals, it is in Surah Al-Ma'idah, لا تقتلوا الصيد وأنتم حرم ومن قتله منكم متعمدا فجزاء مثل ما قتل من النعم يحكم به ذو عدل منكم هديا بالغ الكعبة أو كفارة طعام مساكين أو عدل ذلك صياما ليذوق وبال أمره. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لا تقتلوا الصيد وأنتم حرم, don't kill game animals while you are in a state of ihram. And whoever kills a game animal while in a state of ihram, then the expiation will be such and such and such. We will come back to it in the next session, inshallah. Also in Surah Al-Ma'idah, Allah says, أُحِلَّ لَكُمْ صَيْدُ الْبَحْرِ وَطَعَامُهُ ما دمتم أُحِلَّ لَكُمْ صَيْدُ الْبَحْرِ وَطَعَامُهُ أُحِلَّ لَكُمْ صَيْدُ الْبَحْرِ وَطَعَامُهُ مَتَاعًا لَكُمْ وَلِلسَّيَّارَةِ وَحُرِّمَ عَلَيْكُمْ صَيْدُ الْبَرِّ مَا دُمْتُمْ حُرُمًا. Permissible for you is the game of the sea. وَحُرِّمَ عَلَيْكُمْ صَيْدُ الْبَرِّ مَا دُمْتُمْ حُرُمًا, and forbidden to you is the game of the land as long as you are in a state of ihram. Keep in mind, there are two things that would make it haram to eat, to kill or to hunt: being in a state of ihram and being in the haram. And they are separate. So if you are not in a state of ihram inside the sacred precinct, you don't kill game animals there. You don't kill, and game animals include the birds, aside from chicken, because, all the things that happen that are wild, not domesticated. Even if they were domesticated, but originally they are considered game, like ducks and pigeons. Even if they are domesticated, you can't really kill them, according to the madhab. But game, any game animals or birds inside the sacred precinct are haram, even if you are halal, even if you're not in ihram. And when you are in ihram, it's not halal for you to kill any game animals, whether or not they are in the sacred precinct. Arafat is in haram or not? Outside al-haram. Can you kill game animals in Arafat? If you're yes, unless you are in a state of ihram. If you are in a state of ihram, you cannot hunt. And if you are in the haram, you cannot hunt. Okay? Certainly you could always slaughter sort of domestic animals and birds, chicken, goats, sheep, stuff like that. Clear with game, and when it comes to the sea, so the sea, you cannot, when you are in a state of ihram, it is okay for you to fish. Fishing in a state of, while you're in a state of ihram is okay. Let us say, Mecca all of a sudden, or the haram all of a sudden had rivers and fish and stuff. It would not be halal for you to fish in the sacred precinct, because the permission for the sea is for the state of ihram, but not for the sacred precinct. If there is fish in the sacred precinct, you cannot fish in the sacred precinct. You cannot basically kill the fish, take them out of the water in the sacred precinct, because they would, the same security will be conferred on the fish. Same security that's conferred on the other wild animals will be conferred on the fish in the sacred precinct. The permission is only for one in ihram, not for the sacred precinct. Then he said, السابع عقد النكاح حرام ولا فدية فيه. 7, marriage, which is forbidden, but there is no expiation due for it. So what was number 6? Hunting is number 6. These are, okay, 7. Marriage. That's for yourself, or to be a wakil, or to marry someone off, or to be a wali, or marry off someone. You're not part of a marriage contract. لا ينكح المحرم ولا ينكح ولا يخطب. Or ولا يخطب. So لا ينكح المحرم, the muhrim should not marry in a state of ihram. ولا ينكح, and should not marry off someone in a state of ihram, should not be part of the contract, party to that contract of marriage in a state of ihram. ولا يخطب, and he should not get engaged in the state of ihram. He does not really propose in the state of ihram. There is disagreement about the Prophet ﷺ and whether there is an exception for the Prophet. The disagreement is related to some conflict of reporting between Maymuna and Abu Rafa on one side and Abdullah ibn Abbas on the other side. Abdullah ibn Abbas said that the Prophet married Maymuna while he was in a state of ihram. Maymuna denies this. And the Safir, the agent that was between them, between Maymuna and the Prophet, which is Abu Rafa, denied this. It seems to be quite obvious that we should, take Maymuna's word for it, radiallahu anha, and not Abdullah ibn Abbas's word. She's the one who got married. It just makes perfect sense. I know this better. Anyway, so it seems that the Prophet ﷺ did not marry her while he was in a state of ihram. So when you are in a state of ihram, you're not marrying, you're not being party of the contract, Then number 8, الثامن, they say in the Hanbali madhab, which is just for your intellectual luxury, that this is because of your wilaya khassa. Wilaya al-amma is different, because if you are the wali, السلطان ولي من لا ولي له. The Sultan is the guardian of those who have no guardians. The wards who have no guardians, the Sultan is the guardian for them. And if you're agents, if you are a Sultan and you go to make Hajj, your agents are acting on your behalf, and all of the judges are acting on your behalf. They're not going to stop marrying people because the Sultan, is in Hajj now, and they are acting on his behalf, because that is wilaya amma, and that is different. That is different. Anyway, number 8, المباشرة لشهوة فيما دون الفرج فإن أنزل بها ففيها بدنة وإلا ففيها شاة وحجه صحيح. Number 8, sexual intimacy short of intercourse. If one ejaculates semen as a result of that, he must offer a camel. If he does not ejaculate, then he must offer a sheep. His Hajj is valid. So short of intercourse, sexual intimacy. Sexual intimacy short of intercourse includes touching and even looking. So you gotta be sort of careful, but looking more than once. So if someone looked more than once, and he maybe some people are like that, and he got sort of like an excitement, and this is not for the haram looking only, it is also for the halal looking. If he is going to Hajj with his spouse, this is not for the haram looking also, this is also for the halal looking. You don't touch, you don't look too much, if you know that looking causes you problems. Because if you touch, and if you touch with desire, that is haram. If you repeat the look, at your wife, without particularly being lustful or anything, that is not haram. If you repeat the look at someone else, that's a different issue. But if you repeat, but we're saying that you should not do this if you know of yourself that this could get you like too excited, and then you could reach something can come out of you. If this was semen, that would require the offering of a camel or a cow. A cow always is a good substitute for a camel. Keep in mind, a cow is always a good substitute for a camel or a cow. If that is not semen, which is mazi, then a goat would be demanded of you. A goat would be demanded of you. Thinking alone would not be an issue, because thinking is not a violation. There is no act here, because the Prophet ﷺ said that his ummah will be forgiven for that. ما حدثت به أنفسها, their inner thoughts. But touching, looking more than once, if that caused ejaculation of semen, that would basically make the sacrifice of a camel or a cow required. If that caused the discharge, a different type of discharge, which is mazi, then this would make a goat or a sheep required. And for that reason, separation during Hajj is not a bad idea. And particularly, during your state of Ihram. Once you start your state of Ihram until you exit from your state of Ihram completely, is not a bad idea for spouses to be separated. And oftentimes they are separated because oftentimes they sort of room in with the same gender during those times. So this is sexual intimacy short of intercourse. If one ejaculates semen as a result of that, he must offer a camel or a cow. If he does not ejaculate, then he must offer a sheep. His Hajj is valid. Okay. Number 9. He said, الوطء في الفرج فإن كان قبل التحلل الأول فسد الحج ووجب المضي في فاسده والحج من قابل. وعليه بدنة وإن كان بعد التحلل الأول ففيه شاء ويحرم من التنعيم ليطوف محرما وإن وطئ في العمر أفسدها وعليه شاء ولا يفسد النسك. It says here ولا يفسد النسك. No, ولا يفسد النسك بغيره. Okay, so let's read this. Intercourse, if it is before the first tahallul, this is the biggest problem in Hajj. Because الحج أشهر المعلومات فمن فرض فيهن الحج فلا رفث ولا فسوق ولا جدال في الحج. Everybody should heed this. Hajj is prescribed during the known months of Hajj, when we know them. So Shawwal, Dhul Qa'dah, and the first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah, or the entire month of Dhul Hijjah, as Malik said. Hajj is prescribed in the known months of Hajj. فَمَنْ فَرَضَ فِيهِنَّ الْحَجِّ. Whoever embarks on Hajj during those months, فَلَا رَفَثَ. There should be no sexual intimacy, وَلَا فُسُوقَ, or sort of sinning, fusuq, wickedness, sinning, وَلَا جِدَال, or disputation during the time of Hajj. So people should stay away from this stuff. Now, if someone had sexual intercourse during Hajj, punishment is rather severe. And this is talking about, this is not talking about haram stuff. It is haram during this time, by the way. But it is sexual intercourse with your halal partner is haram during this time. So what would be required in this case? Imam ibn Qudamah says here, intercourse, if it is before the first tahallul, getting out of the state of Ihram. First tahallul happens when you do 2 out of 3 things on the day of al-Nahr, on the day of Eid. Doing 2 out of 3 things will get you partially out of your state of Ihram. One thing will be left, which is intercourse. It's still forbidden, but not as forbidden. So, let's explain this because it is consequential to this particular discussion. When you do 2 out of 3 things in your Yawm al-Nahr, in the day of Eid, doing 2 out of 3 things. That is Tawaf al-Ifada and Rami al-Jamra and Halq. These 3 things. You do 2 out of 3, then that makes what? Makes you out of the strict state of Ihram. Strict state of Ihram. After you do 2 out of 3 things, you could do anything you want. You could do anything you want, except intercourse. So you could put in your, so some people do this. They do the Rami and the Halq, and then they go to Tawaf al-Ifada, and you find them making Tawaf al-Ifada in their street clothes, right? Because that's fine. They could do that. And they could put perfume, and they could do anything. The only thing that is left is intercourse. That is not permitted until you do the 3rd one, which is usually Tawaf al-Ifada. Now,
is not one of those 3 things? Slaughtering is not one of those 3 things that...
According to the vast majority, no. Yeah. So then, when you do this, when you do 2 out of the 3, what is left? What is left is intercourse. Everything else is permissible.
You get married?
Yes. Only intercourse is the only thing that is forbidden in this case. So he says, الوطء في الفرج فإن كان قبل التحلل الأول فسد الحج وواجب المضي في فاسده والحج من قابل وعليه بدنه. Intercourse, if it is before the first tahallul, getting out of the state of Ihram, his Hajj is invalid, but he still must complete it, even though it is invalid, and perform Hajj the following year. In addition, he must offer a camel or a cow. So before your Tawaf al-Ifada, before your first tahallul, which is doing 2 out of 3, before your first tahallul, which is doing 2 out of 3, if you have intercourse, then here's the punishment. You complete this Hajj, you must repeat it next year, and you must sacrifice a camel or a cow. You must complete this Hajj, and it doesn't count. but you must complete it. You must repeat it next year. You must sacrifice a camel or a cow. That is by the agreement of the four madhahib. That is by the agreement of the four madhahib. All of this. There's no discussion about this stuff. So you should just really be careful about this stuff. Okay. Now, he says, I will come back and talk about someone who does this out of error or absent-mindedly in the next session, but not now. Then he said, وإن كان بعد التحلل الأول ففيه شاء ويحرم من التنعيم ويحرم من التنعيم ليطوف محرما. If it is after the first tahallul, a sheep is due and he must go into ihram from at-tan'im so that he will be in ihram to perform tawaf. It doesn't have to be tan'im, he needs to just get out of the sacred precinct to al-hil and make ihram out from al-hil. So if you have intercourse after the first tahallul, you did 2 out of 3 and you did not do the third one, so you're still in a partial state of ihram where only intercourse is forbidden, but you do commit that error, then in this case, you slaughter a goat, you go out to the hill outside of the sacred precinct, you put on your ihram on you another time, and then you go make tawaf now after you had gotten out of the sacred precinct to the hill, and now you go back and you make your tawaf and you make your sa'i if you have not made the sa'i already upon arrival. Is this clear? So you slaughter a goat or a sheep and you go out to the hill or the outside of the sacred precinct, you put on your ihram on you one more time, and then you go in and you make your tawaf and sa'i if you still need to make sa'i. Is your hajj valid? Yes, it is valid. Yes, it is valid. So here the sort of the punishment or the expiation is the consequences are much less than having intercourse before the first tahallul. Then he said, وَإِنْ وَطِئَ فِي الْعُمْرَةِ أَفْسَدَهَا وَعَلَيْهِ شَاءَ وَلَا يَفْسُدْ النُّسُكْ بِغَيْرِهِ. If he has intercourse during Umrah, he spoils it. And a sheep is due, nothing other than it would spoil the rights of Hajj or Umrah. Nothing other than it will spoil the rights of the Hajj and Umrah. Now, someone who does this in Umrah really should be punished, because it's just like, Umrah finishes in 1 hour. What is the... so if you do this in Umrah, then, because Umrah is less than Hajj, the sacredness of Umrah is less than the sacredness of Hajj, they will only ask of you, if you do this before you finish your sa'i in Umrah, before you finish your sa'i. And Umrah is tawaf and sa'i, and that's it. You just make ihram, you go in, you make tawaf, you make sa'i, and then after this you shave, you're done. But if you are too impatient to wait until you finish your sa'i, basically you break between the tawaf and the sa'i. Like you make tawaf, you go home, and then you say, I'll come back and make sa'i later. And then you have intercourse, then your Umrah is invalid, you sacrifice a goat. Nothing else would spoil the Hajj except intercourse. Nothing else spoils the Hajj and the Umrah except intercourse. Then the Sheikh said, وَالْمَرْأَةُ كَالرَّجُلِ إِلَّا أَنَّ إِحْرَامَهَا فِي وَجْهِهَا وَلَهَا لُبْسُ الْمَخِيطِ. The rulings for the woman is like that of the man, except that what she wears in her ihram pertains only to her face, and except that what she wears in her ihram, or the prohibition of clothes in her ihram pertains only to her face. And she may wear sewn fitted clothes. She may wear sewn fitted clothes. So for women, all of the rulings apply. So, okay, shaving, clipping, covering the head does not apply. But in place of covering the head, it will be covering the face. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, إحرام الرجل في رأسه وإحرام المرأة في وجهها. إحرام الرجل في رأسه, the ihram of the man pertains to his head, the ihram of the woman pertains to her face. Meaning what? The man must uncover his head, the woman must uncover her face. She must uncover her face unless, as Aisha said, كان يمر بنا الركبان فتسد الإحدان على وجهها, unless she wants to cover her face in front of men. Then some of the female companions would cover their face in front of men by bringing down the head cover on the face. The head cover on the face. You just cover, but this is not wearing the particular article of clothes that is meant, that's called niqab, which is meant to cover the face. That particular article of clothes is like wearing trousers for men or wearing a shirt for men, that particular article of clothes. Yet, if she desires, when men pass by and she wants to cover her face, she can do this, she can do that. Without wearing this niqab. Okay, so covering the face. This applies, this applies, this applies, this applies, this applies. But we will talk about sexual intimacy because we will talk about the rulings of coercion and so on next in the next session, inshallah. So she can wear form-fitting clothes except for the niqab and gloves. She cannot wear gloves. The Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith in Abi Dawood, reported by Abdullah ibn Umar, he said, لا تلبس المحرمة, the muhrima should not wear the niqab or the gloves, ولا ثوبا مسه ورس أو زعفران, ولا ثوبا مسه ورس أو زعفران, nor should she wear a garment that has been dyed by turmeric or saffron. ولتلبس بعد ذلك ما تحب من ألوان الثياب. Let her wear after that, after she makes sure she doesn't wear that stuff, let her then wear after that whatever she likes of the colors and types of clothes. Colors and types of clothes. ألوان الثياب here does not only mean colors, but it means types of clothes. He said, al-Muwaffaq, that which is dyed with asfar, which makes it yellow, which tells you that women can wear whatever colors as long as the color is not particularly meant to be attractive, or she does not mean by the color to be attractive. So whether it is muasfar or khaz, muasfar أو khaz أو حلي أو sarawil, whether it is dyed with asfar or dyed yellow or silk or hulay, jewelry, or sarawil, trousers. She can wear whatever she wants of the different types of clothes. So what is it that she cannot wear in this case? What is the difference between women and men when it comes to mahdurat al-ihram? Because we will end by this. Yeah. So the difference between men and women is only applicable to what? The clothes. Men cannot cover their head. Women have to cover their head, but they cannot cover their face. They can wear form-fitting clothes except for the form-fitting clothes. The niqab, the gloves are form-fitting. And also of the types of clothes that men cannot wear, women also cannot wear clothes that have been dyed with turmeric or saffron. But they can wear the muasfar, which is a different yellow color, because the muasfar does not have any odor to it. So it doesn't have the fragrance of the wars and the za'faran, the turmeric and the saffron. So these are just the differences between men and women when it comes to the state of ihram. Otherwise, they are similar in everything. We'll take 5 minutes and come back for the chapter on expiation or fidya.